Hello everyone, you are listening to Scenecraft. From opening shots to long takes and epilogues, we examine our favorite scenes from cinema here on the podcast. I'm Cody, here with my fellow sad, strange little men,
Mark
and Connor.
You can find Scenecraft on most social media platforms at Scenecraft Podcast for the latest news on the show. Today we are celebrating the 30-year anniversary of Pixar's Toy Story. But as usual, let's begin with our brief What We've Been Watching segment, Quick Takes.
Speak quickly.
Quickly, thank you.
Quickly, come on. Hurry up, quicker.
Way quicker.
Okay, I'll say it fast.
All right, what have you guys been watching?
I think my voice is like hoarse, and I think it's from the air quality, but now I'm just realizing like I think I'm just becoming like an old man and my voice is just getting shitty. Do you guys feel that way too?
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, life's hard.
Okay. I have a simple premise this week for you guys. Director Darren Aronofsky.
Oh,
It's
okay.
simple. It's clean. I got 2 movies to talk about of his today. The first one is Caught Stealing, which was released this year, 2025. And the logline reads, burned out ex-baseball player Hank Thompson unexpectedly finds himself embroiled in a dangerous struggle for survival amidst the criminal underbelly of the 1990s New York City. So Caught Stealing feels pleasantly out of place in Aronofsky's dark and often ambitious filmography. It plays much more like a straightforward thriller than anything else he's created at this point. So kind of a welcome surprise. It actually kind of reminds me of a story that happened to me in 8th grade. Maybe, I think, Connor, you were in my homeroom in 8th grade. Do you recall us having like a crazy hair day?
I don't actually.
Okay. That's fine. Basically,
Okay, sorry. Am I like totally ruining the story?
the story doesn't crux on your remembering of it, but that's fine.
Well, jog my memory here.
Yeah. We got extra credit for showing up with a wild hairstyle. It's pretty simple.
Okay.
And at this point in my life, I basically used to spike my bangs up with gel.
Uh-huh.
But I made like a conscious decision to go to class with my hair flat and plain that day. And this particular teacher told me my hair wasn't crazy enough. And he was about to walk by. And I like argued back that crazy was kind of a relative term. And compared to my usual style, it was crazy. And I'll never forget, he kind of stood there taken aback. And you could just tell his brain was processing, and he eventually gave me the extra credit. I think he was like kind of impressed that I fought him about it. But that's a long way of saying that this film feels like the same way in some ways. It's direct, it's stripped down, but it's surprising. And I think it's precisely because it's coming from Aronofsky, because he's not really used to doing these kind of straightforward movies.
Mm-hmm.
The movie itself plays like After Hours if it was directed by the Coen brothers. The chemistry between Austin Butler and Zoe Kravitz has a sharp, salacious edge. And there's also these bursts of violence with a brutal weight to them that I feel like a lot of directors struggle to achieve. So it may not dethrone Black Swan or The Wrestler for me personally, but I think it's a worthwhile, tightly wound thrill ride that's all the more striking for its simplicity. I would recommend Caught Stealing, which is now playing in theaters.
I need to see this one. I'm probably going to wait for it to hit streaming, personally.
Yeah. Well, I sent you that Instagram reel where Aronofsky himself said, like, you better go out in a theater because it's going to take a long ass time for it to hit streaming.
Guess I won't see it for a while.
I also had a chance to see The Fountain, which was a first-time viewing for me. Obviously directed by Darren Aronofsky as well, and it was released in 2006. The logline reads, as a modern-day scientist, Tommy is struggling with mortality, desperately searching for the medical breakthrough that will save the life of his cancer-stricken wife, Izzy. If Caught Stealing stands out as the most straightforward entry in Darren Aronofsky's filmography, The Fountain is easily his most ambitious. This film stars Hugh Jackman and Rachel Weisz as a couple existing across 3 distinct timelines and time periods, and the narrative cross-cuts between each of those throughout its runtime. Based on the logline, you would expect a really tightly focused story, but this film often leads into abstraction, which some people may like. But I admire the ambition of The Fountain, but I do feel like a few elements work against it. First, it has a really relatively short runtime combined with the fragmented storytelling that the film operates on. And because of that, it opens with this emotionally intense moment, but it lacks any proper context. And as a result, I found it difficult to get truly invested in the characters, because once you got kind of used to one set, it would jump in time, whether forward or backwards. And it kind of just led to a disorienting experience, but not in a way that I found very pleasing.
Okay.
Second, I feel like the film has a pretty modest budget. And while it leads to some creative visual solutions, it clearly limits the scope of what Aronofsky seems to be aiming for. You can kind of feel that full vision is being held back by the budget. So in the end, I wanted to like The Fountain more than I did. It's one of those films that's apparently praised as a masterpiece by a lot of people. And while I didn't fall in love with it, I can understand why others might. So I personally would not go out of my way to recommend The Fountain, but it is streaming on Canopy, which is the library card streaming service if you're interested. Cody, do you disagree with me on this one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah, it's I find its kind of abstract approach to actually be a bit of a plus for me, even though I could see how others think it's a bit aimless or you know, the way you described it, Mark, like jumping between storylines. I could see that putting people off. I think I respond more to the aesthetic and kind of like pace of the film, and obviously Hugh Jackman's commitment to the role, or multiple roles, I should say. Particular shots from the film really stand out in my memory, and just for that alone, and I'm thinking back to that upside down shot through multiple sequences of like Hugh Jackman riding a horse, and then the same shot happens again. So it's that kind of like visual connection and bookending that I think Aronofsky is really good at, and I appreciate it for that. But, you know, point taken, I can see all your criticisms, and I also don't know if I would recommend it to most people.
Right.
So
right.
I just thought I could rely on you, but
yeah, you know, it surprised me because I feel like I'm probably the biggest fan of his amongst the three of us.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
What about you, Connor? What have you been watching?
So no theme for me this week. I haven't really had time to watch a whole lot, but I did get a chance to watch Materialists, written and directed by Celine Song, which came out earlier this summer, 2025. The logline is: an ambitious young New York City matchmaker finds herself torn between the perfect match and her imperfect ex. I recently watched this because I was interested to see Celine Song's follow-up to Past Lives, a movie I thought was good and a very solid debut feature, but I personally don't feel like Past Lives was worthy of all the praise heaped on it these last few years. Cody, you can feel free to come at me for that.
He's going to kill you.
oh,
I know. But I thought Materialists wasn't great. It plays like a big budget rom-com without much rom and very little com. I think on some level that really is the point of this movie, but my frustration is more how unrealistic it all seems. While it's packaged as a heady critique on the transactional nature of dating, it's all too easy and archetypal. It's like if Tell Don't Show was a movie. Characters deliver these really long, unrealistic monologues at each other for the whole movie that no one would ever say aloud in real life. It also gives off season 1 Sex and the City vibes, with characters staring into the camera delivering direct to audience testimonials, but not really in a charming way. It feels stilted, like a bad imitation of something that was already kind of dated 2 decades ago. Most troubling, I think, is the way the film leans on a plot device as the protagonist's so-called growth moment. It comes across less as an honest exploration of trauma, more like a lazy shortcut to force the character toward change, and I thought it was an approach that feels exploitative rather than thoughtful. For me, Materialists was just super literal and didn't have much to say despite all the words coming out of its characters' mouths. With a talented ensemble and really good premise, I think there was definitely potential here, but as delivered, I thought it was a flat, meandering, and frustratingly hollow experience. But maybe that's just a good metaphor for dating in New York. I don't know. Materialists is currently available to rent on Amazon and Apple TV, which is how I watched it. And I think it's supposed to hit streaming on HBO Max at some point this fall. I know you saw this, Cody. What did you think?
Yeah, I completely agree
Yeah.
with everything you said. And I was a huge fan of Past Lives. So that it was all the more bitter watching this for me, because I agree with all your sentiments, unfortunately.
So this is just like a little bit worse than Happy Gilmore 2, or?
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
No, that one definitely takes the cake for the year so far, I think.
All right.
I also started watching Task, created and written by Brad Inglesby, which just came out, so September 2025. The logline for it reads, in the working class suburbs of Philadelphia, an FBI agent heads a task force to put an end to a string of violent robberies led by an unsuspecting family man. HBO is back.
Yeah.
Where are Mayor of Easttown heads at?
Big mirror head here. Just me,
Hell yeah.
not Cody. I'm a big fan.
Wait.
Cody,
That's right.
What?
Cody wouldn't understand Mayor of Easttown. He's more of like a defending Jacob kind of guy.
Yeah.
I loved Mayor of Easttown. I watched it all.
Okay.
Mark and I and not
Show me
Cody
the
were
tapes.
fans of Mayor of Easttown.
Yep.
I think it's
I
safe to
do
say.
not agree, and I don't understand that. Fuck you both. But okay, go on.
Okay. All right. So all three of us really enjoyed it. I haven't been that gripped by a mystery maybe ever, like a mystery show. It was just
Me
so
too.
engrossing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Really loved it. And Task is a new show from the same creator, and I'm happy to report the formula works. If the Pennsylvania accent ain't broke, don't fix it.
Oh.
Or should I say, if the water's warm, jump in.
That was a joke for me.
I've got
Not-
plenty
not
more
for
of
him.
these.
Now I agree that I don't like Mayor of Easttown anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Mark Ruffalo plays the main Kate Winslet role in this new show as our grizzled, Rolling Rock drinking FBI agent, and Tom Pelfrey plays a garbage collector who robs houses at night in Philadelphia. So far, there's only been one episode, but it really sets up a nice game of cat and mouse in that signature gritty HBO style of Mare and other crime dramas like True Detective. It's definitely got that feel to it. I really don't have much else to say about it because it just started, so I'm excited to see where the show goes, and I really hope it's good. So check out Task. The first episode is out now on HBO Max as of this recording, with new episodes on the way each Sunday night. And Cody, I do have to ask, what do you think of the name of this show?
Task. It sounds like an iOS app,
Okay.
but
It does, yeah.
I mean, I like it. Short and
Okay.
sweet. And
Okay.
it seems to apply to the premise. So, yeah, I don't mind it.
All right, that's kind of surprising to me.
Oh, really? You thought I wouldn't like it?
Yeah, I thought you would hate
Well,
it for some reason.
You're wrong about that, and you're wrong about Mare. So, I
All right, I stand corrected.
totally wrong on all fronts tonight.
So, Connor, I had read somewhere or maybe heard somewhere that this takes place in the same world as Mayor of Easttown. Is that true?
Maybe. It definitely feels like it. Like it
Okay.
feels like it could be happening, down the block or concurrently with all the activity of Mare. I have
Okay.
yet to see any characters that would overlap from Mare of Easttown,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not to say they won't pop up in other episodes.
Yeah. Okay.
I think you're gonna like it, Mark. Just Mark.
Oh, I can't wait to watch this.
Wow.
Really trying to force this joke.
I'm going to finish it before all of you, and I'm going to spoil it.
What about you, Cody? What have you been watching?
I recently watched K-Pop Demon Hunters, directed by Maggie Kang and Chris Appelhans.
Nice.
This came out recently, this year, 2025. The logline reads, when they aren't selling out stadiums, K-pop girl group Huntrix use their secret identities as demon hunters to protect their fans from an ever-present supernatural threat. This review is probably coming in a little late to the party. Everyone has heard of this or seen it by now, but I recently watched this on Netflix, and let me tell you, it was an unexpected delight for me. I am by no means at all a K-pop guy.
Definitely
but
not.
This may have turned me into a bit of a fan, though, and I have my wife to thank for turning this on. I went in totally negative and thinking this would not be for me, but I was completely wrong, which is always a good reminder to keep an open mind and give filmmakers the benefit of the doubt. But this movie knows exactly what it is. It's flashy, it's over the top, it is built using an aesthetic somewhere between Arcane and the Spider-Verse films from Sony, with that really distinct cel-shaded low frame rate look. It has a solid story with a really good message for its core audience, confronting shame and embracing imperfections through self-compassion. They're hopeful themes, and I would watch this many times over in place of something like, the 14th Minions movie. But when it comes down to it, it is the music of Demon Hunters that's the real meat here. The standout song, of course, is Golden. Mark, I know you've heard of it at the very least. The song not only anchors key themes of the film, but actually hit number 1 on the US Billboard Hot 100, which is crazy. Number 1.
Wow.
So even if you haven't seen the movie, you've probably heard of this song. And it's that crossover success that is a big part of why the movie is so much a cultural event as it is a solid piece of genre cinema. It's kind of embedded its way into all aspects of culture right now. We were walking by a neighbor, and through the window, we hear this song kind of like on repeat, and we just laughed to ourselves like, it is just everywhere right now.
Yeah.
With that said, not everything in the film totally lands. Like many entries in the musical genre, it does have this habit of sneaking in clunky exposition through song lyrics, but the actual melodies are so catchy, I think you would forgive, anything like that. At the end of the day, K-Pop Demon Hunters is really self-aware and way funnier than I expected. It hits a lot of classic story tropes, but it's really the way in which the story is executed that is innovative. It doesn't shy away from its goofy premise. In fact, it throws you into the very, very deep end of Korean folklore mixed with K-pop, and it's like, I didn't know anything about that. It throws you right in. And also manages to take a few clever swipes at the concept of idolism in pop culture. I'd highly recommend checking out K-Pop Demon Hunters on Netflix. It's a lot of fun.
I've heard so many people talk about it, and what I do really appreciate about the title is I know exactly what I'm going to get. K-Pop Demon Hunters.
That's true. I think it's amazing because you said it yourself, Cody. You had like a pretty big mood bias to get over.
Yep.
Yeah, that's saying something.
Yeah. So if you like this, I'm probably going to check it out.
Yeah, good. Yeah. Let me know what you think. Mark, I know you have seen at least one episode of this. Connor, I don't know if you've caught any, but I watched The Paper on Peacock, created by Greg Daniels and Michael Coman. This came out very recently. The logline reads, the documentary crew that immortalized Dunder Mifflin's Scranton branch is in search of a new story, finding it at a struggling local newspaper, the Toledo Truth Teller. So first off, we have to settle this here on the pod. Which of you is the bigger fan of The Office?
Oh, it's me.
I think Mark will claim it's him. I think it's safe to say you are the biggest Office fan of the three of us.
I am a really, really big Office fan. I just have such a deep love for it. But yeah, I know you guys were, squabbling.
I mean, I absolutely love it. I've seen it many times.
Did you watch it live though?
I watched some of it live.
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah, I watched some of it live.
Yeah, a real fan would have watched.
Okay,
the whole thing.
Since rewatched it many times, so it's fine.
Okay, well, good enough. Like you guys, I'm a big fan. It has always been a comfort watch for me. I've done a repeat watch many times.
I'm watching it right now.
Like as we're recording.
Yes. Yeah. As we're recording, I have it on right
Just
now.
half paying attention.
So yeah, I mean, I was super nervous going into this spinoff. I feel like it would be impossible to recapture that lightning in a bottle, but Greg Daniels and Michael Coman, they admirably avoided that trap, and the paper is so much better for it. So instead of leaning on nostalgia, I think it charts its own course while still keeping the familiar touches of The Office. That faux documentary format and an even more cynical Oscar Nunez. I'm halfway through season 1. I'm 5 episodes in.
Oh.
And this cast has actually won me over, balancing earnestness with absurdity. And we also get the amazing Tim Key from The Ballad of Wallace Island here.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
he's kind of playing that same shtick. It's great.
It's great.
So some characters have not quite clicked into place yet, and it's not firing off these endless belly laughs like The Office quite yet, but I think it is consistently sharp and funny. Setting the show at a barely alive newspaper called The Truth Teller was really a stroke of brilliance, I think. It comments on the decline of print while also underlining the power and hope of integrity in journalism during this age of misinformation. And I think that backdrop gives the comedy actual weight, but it never does get too heavy since we're assaulted daily with mortifying news. It doesn't. It's satirical still. It doesn't go too dark.
Right.
So the bottom line, this is about as strong a start as you could hope for in an Office spinoff. It doesn't feel like a hollow copy. It still captures the tone. So that is The Paper, streaming on Peacock. I'd highly recommend checking it out.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, real Office fans know that the show really hits its stride season 2, season 3. So that's great if it's already starting that strong. I think there's one direction it can go from there, which is just continue to get funnier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Mark, what'd you think of Ep 1?
I really liked it a lot. Yeah, I think I'm 2 episodes in at this point. So I really like the sincerity of it. It feels less. I mean, it's cynical, but it's not in your face cynical because the main character, the new editor-in-chief, he's trying to rally the office together to make something good, to make something worthwhile. And I really like that hopeful tone to it.
Yeah. Oh, completely agree. Yeah.
And really big fans of The Office would know that the same creatives also created Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And that first season wasn't the strongest.
Right.
And it definitely found its footing in season 2. So if this show starts this strong, I'm definitely very hopeful for the future as well.
I'm excited to see Eric Rahill in this too.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great. He does
Cool.
a really good job. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. Now let's move into our discussion about Toy Story on its 30th anniversary, starring Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, among many others.
This is the part where we blow up! Not today! Ah! Hey, Buzz! You're flying!
This isn't flying, this is falling with style.
The logline for the film reads, "A cowboy doll is profoundly jealous when a new spaceman action figure supplants him as the top toy in a boy's bedroom. When circumstances separate them from their owner, the duo have to put aside their differences to return to him." Let's first start with our spoiler-free section as we always do. Mark, what did you think about your most recent rewatch of Toy Story?
I'm really excited to talk about this one. As you guys know, this film means a lot to me, but for my general take, I don't think you need me to regurgitate all of the many praises this film has received over the years. Instead, I'm going to go a little more personal and talk about my own relationship with the movie over the years. I honestly believe Toy Story has played a small part in the development of the person I am today. And I know that sounds really hyperbolic, but I saw this movie when I was 5 or 6 years old, And it opened my mind to the idea that just about anything could have feelings. And more importantly, the value of empathy for others. I would spend hours lying on my stomach in my childhood bedroom with my Street Sharks or Space Jam action figures. And I remember gaining a deeper appreciation for them after watching this movie. Not because I feared that they were going to spring to life and attack me like Sid's toys, but because I came to see that everything has a purpose. And I think it's worthwhile to try and be the best at whatever you're tasked to do. What struck me the most was the sincerity of Andy's toys. They're all trying to be there for him, whether they sat proudly on his bed or they're stashed away in a bin by his closet. And looking back, that's a pretty heavy sentiment for a child to grasp, but Toy Story communicated that in such a clear, heartfelt way that it instantly connected with me. And I think that's the highest compliment I can give a film. It resonated with me so deeply that it changed the way I viewed the world. And another part of this movie that really stuck with me was that the idea that a beloved toy could be so easily replaced by the next big thing. And I just found that inherently sad. And it wasn't just Buzz and his arrival that made that impact, but more importantly, it was seeing Woody, who's a deeply flawed character who often acts in his own self-interest, pushed aside and forced to mask his insecurity. There's something truly heartbreaking about the moment where he emerges from under the bed and tries to reassure the worried toys, while also trying to deal and realize that his own world was crumbling down before him. And that's just excellent writing. And it stuck with me as I transitioned from my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures to the Commando Elite from Small Soldiers. As silly as it sounds, I really remember making an effort to play with all my toys together so that none of them felt left out, so to speak.
Oh.
Yeah. That's probably a little more personal than I anticipated, but I figure I only get one shot at putting into words how important this movie is to me. And no matter how many times I revisit it, Toy Story feels like the rare film that grew up with me, and it shaped the way I see the world. And I wholeheartedly believe it's a flawless movie, and it's one of the best ever made.
Yeah.
Wow. So well said. That was great, man.
Thanks. Connor, what did you think of your rewatch?
I had a blast rewatching Toy Story. I really loved it. If I had to guess, I think it's probably 15 years or longer since I've seen it.
Wow.
Do you guys remember the last time you have seen Toy Story, or how many times that you've watched it lifetime?
In the dozens at least.
Oh,
and
wow.
The most recent time, probably 2 years ago, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
Okay, mine was probably like 5 years ago, but I've seen the movie somewhere between 15 to 20 times.
Wow. Okay. But it had been a while for me, and I haven't seen it quite as much as you guys have. But that's cool to hear. And like you, Mark, I think some movies are so transformational that they become a place that you can return to when you watch them. They stir up a lot of emotions. You remember who you were, what you were feeling when you first watched. So Toy Story is definitely high on the list of those movies for me, even though I haven't seen it quite as much as you both. I can clearly remember the VHS box with that bubble-like white 90s plastic packaging that will probably never degrade. I also loved playing the Toy Story computer game. Did you guys play that?
I didn't play the computer game, but I definitely played the Sega game.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it was probably the same or similar.
Yeah, and it was crazy because after watching this, I watched like a playthrough YouTube video.
I did that today.
Yeah, and the guy like completes it in like 30 minutes.
I remember it being hard.
Yeah, it was very hard, but it unlocked so many like weird memories,
awesome.
like the select screen and everything. That's great.
How you can like hide under the cups and move through Pizza Planet. Like, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's just so many memories from my childhood associated with this too. Like so much positive emotion around this movie. And what surprised me most on my rewatch after not having seen it in a while is how good this movie looks.
Yeah.
We rented it on Amazon in ultra high def, And it's so weird to think, after having seen it at least 7 or 8 times in my life, it's probably the clearest I've ever actually seen it. It looked incredible. The colors were stunning, the attention to detail on the textures, the lighting. I was just truly blown away by how amazing it all looked. And it's packed with amazing jokes and lines of dialogue that I can appreciate more now as an adult too, which I'm sure we'll talk about more.
Yeah.
Some of those great lines.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much for parents to chew on when they're watching this with their kids. And some things that I picked up on this time around, which are probably super obvious to you both and everyone who's ever watched, but it was actually about the parents in the movie. How Andy and Molly have a single mom, and they're moving from a larger house to a smaller house, possibly due to a divorce. And I might be reading into it too much, but Andy's world of toys is something that he can control in his life when his parents' marriage, may have fallen apart. And the other thing I noticed is how Sid's parents are completely MIA, and we see his dad asleep in a recliner during the day with just enough of a hint of empty beer cans around him during the Buzz Lightyear commercial scene to suggest that maybe he's an alcoholic.
That was crazy.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I am not a Sid apologist by any means, but it does help us understand how he maybe became who he is. And it's truly amazing how deep yet efficient the storytelling is in this movie. In a world full of endless reality show series and streaming service schlock, Happy Gilmore 2, Toy Story does more with 80 minutes than most of them could ever dream of doing in their runtime.
Yep.
What about you, Cody? How was your rewatch?
Looking back on 30 years of Toy Story is wild. It is incredible to see just how far the form of computer animation has come, with so many films playing with the medium and breaking the mold. But Toy Story somehow did both. It broke the mold from the more traditional animation that came before, which, is stunning in its own right. But it also became the mold for all animation afterward as well. It's just a perfect movie, as you guys have said. It isn't just a landmark in animation history as the first fully computer-generated feature. It redefined what was possible in filmmaking overall, allowing pure imagination and emotion in storytelling. What you think can end up on screen exactly as you imagine it. Beneath its playful surface lies one of cinema's greatest explorations of friendship and growth, told with clarity and narrative economy. Not a moment in this movie is wasted. And what continues to amaze me is the warm spirit and brilliance in comedy on display. Despite every frame being meticulously planned, you could easily lose the heart of a film in all of the science needed to pull this off for the first time. And yet, Toy Story remains as one of the most moving films in existence for both kids and adults. So 3 decades later, which is just so crazy to say, Toy Story is still beautiful and timeless. I don't know if you guys knew this, but our good friend and Scenecraft alumni, Josh, recently hosted his son's 3rd birthday at a cinema out east with friends and family, where they played Toy Story on the big screen.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
that's great.
Yeah, I was so heartened to hear this, and unfortunately I couldn't make it, but just even that at 3 years old in 2025, this film still resonates. Like, that's an amazing thing. It's one of my favorite movies ever, like you guys, and it also profoundly impacted my life. It helped build my passion for filmmaking and my career, and it pioneered an entirely new medium for the world. And this isn't even speaking to the incredible franchise as a whole. Like, this is just film 1. And I'm just counting down the days until I can share these movies with my son and, any potential future kids that come into my life. And see it through yet another lens, another perspective. What an amazing rewatch. Had a great time.
Awesome.
That's great.
Well, let's delve in further and move into our scene selection for the day, which we're going to call Falling with Style. And as usual, beware of spoilers ahead.
Is there anyone there?
Yes, what you see?
Spoilers! Right ahead!
Thank you.
Connor, would you like to give us the scene beats?
I'd love to. So the scene starts just past an hour and 8 minutes into the movie and runs for about 7 minutes. Finally free from Andy's sadistic next-door neighbor, Sid, Woody and Buzz race to catch up with the moving truck carrying Andy's family. But just as Woody climbs aboard, Sid's dog, Scud, attacks. Buzz stays behind to hold off the dog, allowing Woody to make it into the truck. Desperate to save his friend, Woody uses RC, the remote control car, to race back for Buzz. However, the other toys, still skeptical of Woody's motives, toss him out of the truck only to realize their mistake when they see Woody and Buzz working together. Now speeding behind the moving truck on RC, the trio battles the toy car's dwindling battery power. With no other options left, Woody attempts to light a match placed in his holster by Sid. Instead, a rushing car blows out the match, leaving them stranded. When nearly all hope is lost, Woody utilizes Buzz's helmet to magnify the sun and light the fuse on the rocket still strapped to Buzz's back. In a blazing finale, the rocket launches them skyward. At the last second, Buzz deploys his wings, breaking free of the rocket just before it explodes in a burst of fireworks. Together, the two glide through the air and land perfectly inside the sunroof of Andy's car, reunited with their owner and each other.
So good. Well, right off the bat, guys, we're Scenecraft here. And we always talk about the why of the scene, why we chose something in particular, and we'll get into that. But I do just want to say that though Toy Story maybe doesn't fall into my, letterbox top 4 of all time, it's easily probably top 10, but this scene is definitely within my top 4 scenes of all time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just the scene itself and the emotion that you get from it, the thrills, the
highs and lows.
It is the most masterful chase scene and would go up against any live action. And what they had to do to accomplish it on a technical level.
Yeah.
Let's dig into it because it is just so impressive.
Yeah. This is the emotional climax of the film. Buzz, who has spent much of the film basically being in denial about being a toy, no longer insists that he can fly and instead reframes it as falling with style, which is the name of the scene. That great line, that's a callback to what Woody said at the beginning. Buzz embraces who and what he actually is while still holding on to his dignity and his imagination. At the same time, Woody, who's been really jealous and dismissive of Buzz the whole movie, finally sees him as a true friend and learns that value isn't about being the favorite or being the most real. It's actually about the bond that they both share with Andy. In this scene, it all comes together.
Very well said. Yeah. We're going to do something a little bit different with this episode. Big movie. We're going to make a big change here and try to spice things up here. Okay. So we're going to bring a little extra fun with a little trivia face-off between Connor and Cody.
Oh my gosh.
The winner gets a trip to Pizza Planet. And the loser is condemned to live the rest of their days locked in Sid's room. But you do get some periodic tea parties with Miss Nesbitt. Are you guys ready for the first quiz question?
Wait, so how does this work? Is it like first to answer, or do we, or
oh, that's a good question.
Or do we each give an answer?
Yeah, I think you guys are both going to just give an answer.
Okay.
A little bit of a scout's honor of what you think the answer is, and then I'll ask for your answer, and you have to just kind of stick with your gut.
Okay. I'm nervous.
This first one is going to be like a real softball, just to kind of get you guys a little confident, because there's going to be a couple doozies along the way. Okay, so true or false? Toy Story is the first feature-length film made entirely with CGI.
Connor, ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. True.
You guys are both right.
Yeah.
Off to a good start here.
Tin Toy came before, but that was just a short.
But that was the warm-up.
It was a short, yep. So Toy Story is the first feature film of Pixar, and it's also the first feature film for CGI animation. And it was the first one to be released into the theaters, and it was created by 27 animators and a team of 110 individuals.
I mean, that almost seems small, like by today's standards.
Yeah. Be like way more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of the details. So Pixar began in 1979 as the graphics group, and they were a specialized division within Lucasfilm's computer department, and they focused on advancing computer graphics technology. In 1986, the group was spun off into its own independent company, Pixar Animation Studios, following a significant investment from Apple co-founder Steve Jobs. Did you guys know
It was pretty
that?
amazing to see his executive producer credit at the very start. It's like,
Yes.
wow, man, these are some heavy hitters.
So, Cody, you referenced Tin Toy, and Tin Toy was Pixar's 1988 short. It's a 5-minute animation, a 3D animation, about a toy named Tinny and a baby named Billy. And it was the first use of the animation system and rendering system that John Lasseter helped develop. And it also served as the inspiration for the main thrust of Toy Story, which is toys being alive. Tin Toy was well received. It even won an Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film that year.
All of this makes sense because toys and that plastic material lends itself to the format, and the lack of fidelity, although arguably, like as you said, Connor, it does look very good.
It looks amazing.
It looks amazing,
Yeah, it does.
but I think it looks amazing because it wasn't trying to go beyond the scope of what was literally possible.
They
at
were
the
working
time.
with what they had. Yeah, so smart.
Yes. Well, we're going to get to our second quiz question here. This is going
Oh.
to separate the boys from the men.
The toys from the bed.
All right. We need like a little sound bite.
Oh, okay. More work for Cody.
Huh.
Cody, can you just whip that up, please?
Yeah.
Time for another round of trivia.
Amazing. How many Academy Awards was Toy Story nominated for? A, 5, B, 3, C, 1, or D, 0?
I'm going to say 5.
5 for Connor. Cody?
Yeah.
I'll go 3.
The correct answer? 3.
Oh, Cody. Nice.
So Toy
I just
Story...
didn't want to do the same as Connor. That's the only reason why I got that.
Worked out for you.
So Toy Story received 3 Academy Award nominations. Best Original Screenplay, which was obviously the first animated film to be nominated for this award, which is amazing. Best Original Song for You've Got a Friend in Me.
Nice.
And Best Original Score.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, there was no Best Animated Feature Film category at the Oscars in 1995. The official category was actually established later in 2002. Which feels really late.
It feels late.
Right.
I was going to ask if like they did it because of this movie.
So Toy Story did win a Special Achievement Academy Award in 1995 for being the first computer animated feature film.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So it least got some sort of official Academy recognition, which is great. Cool. Okay. Well, that's great background to have leading up to the scene itself. Let's dig into the actual meat here.
So this chase sequence was the last thing that the team produced because they knew the chase was going to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
And as we'll get into, they kind of learned while they were making the film. And so they kind of left the most difficult task for last, so to speak.
Wow. High stakes.
Yeah. Yeah. But to me, I think this is a really good definition of generous filmmaking. It was a term that I actually had heard first from David Chen on the Filmcast. But there's so many problems that arise in the sequence, and each time one is solved, another pops up. First Woody reaches Andy's car, and that could be like the end right there, but he has to jump off in order to help pry Buzz away from the fence.
Right.
And then the car leaves. And so there's a new problem, but then the moving truck appears. And at that point, Buzz is on top of the truck and Woody has to catch it. Well, Woody does catch it, but then the dog catches him. And so, every single time you think it's going to be solved, it kind of flips it on its head with a new problem. And I think my favorite example of that is when we see this match put into Woody's holster from Sid.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so perfect. And I remember, maybe not when I first saw it, but one of my rewatches when I had kind of forgotten some of the beats, I like couldn't believe how ingenious that was to include that. You know, it just seemed like such an organic way
it is
to insert that prop into the story, and then only for them to just give you that kind of like safety blanket and then take it away when the car extinguishes it.
It's genius on several tiers. Tier 1 being Woody has an empty holster as a character design, because they're not going to give Woody the doll an actual gun in like a kid's movie. So it's just an empty holster. So it's like, what could fill that holster? This brilliant character moment of this like sick kid who, you know, fills the holster with a match, which is so messed up if you think about it. It's like, I'm going to use this later to barbecue you. So it tells us everything we need to know about Sid. And then it on the third tier, it creates this amazing moment of suspense later on during the sequence. It's brilliant.
I think another thing this scene does super well, like we were just talking about, is a lot of callbacks from previous foreshadowing. The whole movie is setting things up with each scene that we're seeing, and they all come to a head in this scene.
And they don't feel like setups.
No, they don't. Like, you don't realize it until later. And there are a couple that happen here. There's the scene where Scud gets stuck outside, where the toys trick him to being stuck outside, and that actually comes back to hurt them by preventing Woody to get into the van. So it kind of like works against themselves a little bit there.
Yes.
There's also the amazing scene where Woody tips his hand a little bit by using Buzz's arm when it's detached, and like totally gives it away that he's not actually there, and the other toys really mistrust him. So the toys toss Woody off the back of the truck because they think he's like a murderer, I think they call him.
Yeah, they think he's going to do it again because he grabs RC and is like ready to kick him off the truck.
It's like really heavy content.
He does kick him off. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The use of batteries when the baby monitor breaks at the start because they're trying to listen in to the gifts being unwrapped, that establishes the toys' understanding of batteries in order to operate RC. I think at one point, Woody even says like, "Save your batteries," and they're like, "Smart thinking, boss," or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. And we just talked about the match that Sid uses to actually light the rocket. But one of my favorite turns of this scene too is taking something really negative of Sid using the magnifying glass to burn a hole in the center of Woody's forehead, to actually Woody then reusing that technique, now that he knows about it, to light the match through Buzz's helmet. It's just such a great flip into something positive.
And then, of course, there's the ultimate callback of all callbacks, which is, you know, again, the name of the scene, Falling with Style, taking what was previously an insult from Woody's, you know, jealousy towards Buzz, and now Buzz's full self-actualization.
Well, exactly. This is the first time in the film where Buzz and Woody are really on the same plane together, both wanting the same thing for the same reason, and they know they need to work together to accomplish it.
Right. Right. Yep. I think that's a really important point of this scene.
And digging in a bit into the technical, just gonna push the glasses up the brim of my nose a bit for a minute. And this chase scene required that Pixar build 6 city blocks of suburban environment. Again, the reason why they chose to do this last, it's kind of like, you know, Interstellar, where they take off in the spaceship hoping that they'll solve the equation like decades from now. It's like, I hope when we get to this point, we can actually do it. And it turns out they did it. And, you know, it was a very ambitious task for the technology at the time. To make it feasible, the team designed around 20 different house models. Bill Cohn led the visual design while Lauren Carpenter handled much of the technical work to bring those assets to life. And they used a similar strategy for vegetation, for trees, creating 10 to 12 tree models that could be resized, rotated, reused to add variety without overwhelming their rendering system. And then Eben Osby also played a crucial role in developing the layout system that allowed the team to combine and control these elements across 267 individual shots, which is just nuts.
Yeah.
It was such a massive technical and creative undertaking that pushed the limits of what CG animation could even do in 1995.
Another interesting thing that I found when researching this scene was that they actually referenced old NASA footage to see what G-forces do to the face at those speeds.
Oh, that's funny.
And that's how they actually modeled Woody's face in that like really famous shot of him like zooming forward towards the truck.
It's super funny.
Animator Doug Sweetland shocked the rest of the crew with what he was able to do with Woody's face.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
This movie really is the collaboration between traditional artists and computer scientists, technologists at the time. A lot of the stuff that you're seeing, like the organic shapes, like Buzz's face, they actually used a clay model.
Oh, cool.
And then they used a digitizer wand and they sampled different points on the clay. And then that was transferred into the computer, which is really cool. What that did was it allowed traditional animators with virtually no computer experience the ability to animate the character models in a few weeks, because they essentially didn't have any computer animators to choose from. There was no pool of computer animators out there. And so everybody that was on the team was a traditional artist that had to be taught the technical side of things on the computer while also feeling comfortable enough to animate these models and bring them to life. So it really was this collaboration, and it's just like an unthinkable hoop to jump through at the time that I think we take for granted.
Yeah.
So a lot of work and love that went into this film. But let's break things up a little bit with quiz question number 3.
Initiate the next round of trivia. Please answer the question, you sad, strange little men.
Connor, this is your redemption moment here.
Yeah. God, pressure's on.
We're going to stick with the technical kind of side of things here with this next question. So, how many seconds of completed film was Pixar able to render per day? 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds.
I'm going to say 30 seconds. I feel like it would be pretty low at that time.
Agreed.
Okay.
Just to break it up, I'll go 1 minute.
Okay. So the answer was 30 seconds.
Yes.
We got a tie on our hands, boys.
Keep it interesting.
Connor, so I don't think we can talk about this scene, this movie as a whole, without the recognition that the title treatment for Toy Story is just as iconic as the film itself. Can you just give us a little tidbit, a little title talk about Toy Story?
So what this movie does so well is celebrate the world and culture of toys by nailing the small details, and the logo really captures that perfectly. If you can picture it, right off the bat, there's an organic, toy-like charm to the way that the letters of Toy Story are jumbled together and paired with this irregular rectangular shape that almost feels like it's made from cut paper. It feels like a toy company or toy store logo when you see it. From a color perspective, it uses red, yellow, and blue, primary colors. They have classic toy associations, makes you think of brand logos like Mattel, Lego, Nerf, Play-Doh, Fisher-Price. Like they all kind of have this look and feel that's very simple. For the type, 2 really bold sans serif fonts. There's the angular eagle bold for the word toy, and the curvy, quirky Gil Kayo for the word story. And the way that the word toy is set on an uneven baseline almost feels like the way a child might write this out. I mean, talk about a recognizable movie logo. I think it's one of the most recognizable ever, probably.
Yeah.
I think a designer's ultimate goal is if you can close your eyes and when you hear a movie title or album title, you can picture that logo or artwork in your head. If you can do that, then I think it's a job well done. And this is just a great example of that.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine it as anything other than what it is.
Yeah.
Moving into another visual component between the digital cinematography and the editing of the film. So there was a huge challenge for the team in effectively conveying a sense of speed during the falling with style sequence, which, by the way, in listening to the DVD commentary a bit, Andrew Stanton, his favorite shot in the entire film is that, reverse shot of the rocket taking off, and then from Woody and Buzz's POV looking back down at the ground and seeing the trail of smoke that has launched them with like shaky cam. And he said, that just looks like that. It looks real. Yeah. It looks like live action. It looks real. It's his favorite shot of the entire film.
So cool.
The fact that they were able to achieve this digitally with, essentially a fake camera.
Yeah. So it's hard to kind of just show how fast two objects are moving in like a blank background. And so what they did was they composited them moving through the air, but then they juxtaposed that with a background of basically a second camera that would have been positioned at a street level.
Okay.
And so that way they can kind of see them moving past the trees. So there's a frame of reference there. And then they composited Buzz and Woody in the foreground. So it just gives that illusion of faster movement.
Got it.
Yeah, it's amazing to see things taken from, classic films like Duel from Spielberg, where they could only really move the truck at a relatively low speed for safety, but just the way you shoot it makes all the difference. So learning those lessons here in a digital format using a computer generation for the first time ever to do it, it's groundbreaking for that reason, because physics still apply the same way.
One thing I love about this scene and the movie in general is there's a really heavy use of a lot of low angles.
Yeah.
And that just gives the perspective of the toys. And it also makes the world around them seem really large and overwhelming. So this movie does really give you a sense of place and perspective.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Why don't we move into some of the performances of this scene? Because I think the performances really kind of are the center of the film. And so let's kick things off with quiz question number 4.
Time for another trivia question.
Which of the following actors was not considered for the voice of Buzz Lightyear?
Oh.
Billy Crystal, Jim Carrey, Chevy Chase, or Mike Myers?
Oh, man, tough one. I'm going to say Mike Myers.
I feel like that's right. Mike Myers.
You guys are both right.
Yes. Oh, Cody. Stuck to your guns. It just felt wrong.
Yeah. That was the one I had never heard about, really.
Yeah. I think one of the most famous things about this was that Billy Crystal was originally offered the chance to voice Buzz Lightyear, but he declined, and he was so upset with that choice that later on, John Lasseter had seen how upset he was and offered him the role of Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, weird to think of Buzz Lightyear being anyone but Tim Allen, because he brings such an amazing sense of gravitas and confidence to the role. Like, this guy is just so sure of who he is and has to find his way, obviously, throughout the movie. But back in this scene, he really finds himself, and we're back to Buzz.
Right.
It's very clear that he knows who he is here.
100%. And he is kind of the one, I feel like he's leading Woody through this a little bit. Like Woody, he's got guts, but it's really Buzz that kind of takes command. The way he like jumps onto Scud, the dog, and like pulls up his eyelids was
He's
so
got some
brutal.
Balls. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of the martyr in the other toys' eyes as well. You know, they weren't expecting to see him again. And so when they finally see him appear with Woody, it's like a heartening moment. You know what I mean? Just to see
it's
them.
Like a good hero moment for sure.
Yes. Good hero moment.
So I read that he was originally written as much more of a superhero type, but Tim Allen played the character a lot more realistic.
Right.
And he almost felt more like a cop. And then they rewrote the character to not realize that he is a toy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Let's move on to Woody.
Let's do it.
He's probably my favorite character in the movie. Definitely a flawed character. And as I mentioned in my general take, he's very selfish. But once again, for it being like the first animated movie, it's just such a big swing to make your title character essentially not completely sympathetic, but at the same time very sympathetic. Do you know what I mean?
I was shocked rewatching it how conniving he is at like the beginning of this thing. Like
Right.
he really has some questionable decisions that he makes, and I think what makes him empathetic and sympathetic, like you were saying, is he knows he did something bad and wants to atone for it. Like he's not doubling down. Like he's really trying to put the situation right. And that's what makes us like Woody, is he is truly the human down to earth one, where Buzz is kind of the opposite of that in some ways.
Yeah, exactly. And one little detail I love in this scene is when Woody is holding on to that little like flap of fabric hanging from the truck.
Yeah.
And Scud bites him. You can actually hear like a little tearing.
Yeah.
When he's holding on. And I think that's also a reference point in Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
When he goes to Al's toy barn and Al has to repair him. I think that's a callback to Scud actually biting Woody and causing a tear
good catch.
To the toy. So I love that little detail in this.
Yeah, and I think that in general, Tom Hanks as Woody has to have a lot more emotional range than Tim Allen does as Buzz. Tim Allen has to be funny in his deadpan delivery in this sort of faux official capacity, like you say, Connor, kind of a cop. But Tom Hanks, we get a ton of depth, like him kind of blubbering about being a lost toy, or reacting when the match gets blown out by the car. He's definitely an emotional being, and we're seeing the emotional swings his character takes through an excellent performance. Really, both of these guys are incredible.
100%. Yeah. And it's funny because I think I read that Tom Hanks was really worried that his performance was essentially just screaming throughout the whole movie.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of what makes it funny, right? But I think we all do agree that it is actually way more nuanced than that.
Yeah. So I don't know if you knew this, but Woody's character model and facial features are actually based off of a former Disney animator, Tone Tyne.
Oh, really?
I actually got to meet Tone on a brief trip to New York City.
No way.
Oh, cool.
And it was just kind of like a well-known fact that he served as like the basis for Woody. And it was so cool talking to him about it.
How'd you meet him?
I had a friend in college. Her name is Colleen, and she had been working with like children's TV programming back in college. And so she had established a connection with the animation studio or the children's programming studio that Tone was working at. And so when we visited New York together, we actually got to go to his studio and meet him. And it was really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
So obviously we have some great performances in Tom Hanks as Woody, Tim Allen as Buzz. There are also some great side characters that we get
so many
in the truck here.
Mr. Potato Head. He's so great. And he's portrayed by Don Rickles. I find his character fascinating because I'd been doing a lot of reading and watching videos on the production, and basically every toy, their personality is based off of the toy itself. So a good example would be Mr. Potato Head. He kind of has this like chip on his shoulder because his facial features are continually being knocked off. And in this scene alone, he gets like obliterated.
Yep.
What, like 2 or 3 times?
Yeah. At least.
And each time is like funny.
Yeah. It's great physical comedy.
Yeah.
I think that's what's so amazing about this cast of characters is they all have some kind of like physical thing about them. You have Mr. Potato Head like falling apart because all of his features can fall off. You have Slinky Dog, Jim Varney playing him with that like extendable body.
Yeah, he's so great in this.
You have Wallace Shawn as Rex, who like can't really control his arms and has to like turn his head completely sideways to look around. Like each character has some unique trait about their particular toy's movement.
Wallace Shawn and John Ratzenberger's voices are like forever etched in all of our minds, I think. And they are absolutely perfect in these roles. And then, of course, we have to mention Annie Potts as Bo Peep, who has this kind of funny, flirtatious side to her.
Mm-hmm.
I really love her reading earlier in the film of, I found my moving buddy. It just always gets me because it's basically like the last straw for Woody in Buzz arriving. And then there's also RC, who in this scene is really the character that makes it all possible. And, amazing sound design there. And the animators really, really brought that character to life that is otherwise just a vehicle.
RC's so great. I love the turbo mode. In fact, we had a recent friend trip together where we tried e-bikes for the first time. And like the highest mode you could go into was like turbo mode.
Turbo. Yeah.
And like, I immediately thought of this movie. It's such a great little moment. And RC, really heroic in a lot of ways. He gets his moment to shine in this.
Well, let's segue over into the amazing audio elements of the scene and of the whole film. But Mark, why don't you hit us with another trivia question?
Yeah, we'll finish things off with quiz question number 5.
Another trivia question awaits, but there seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere.
How long did it take Randy Newman to write the song You've Got a Friend in Me? 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, or 1 month?
I'm going to have to go with 1 day.
I'm going to go with 1 day as well.
All right. You guys are both right. It was 1 day. Yes. So now we got a tie on our hands.
Oh, man.
I guess we're both equally huge Toy Story fans. Congratulations.
Yeah, we could do that.
All right, Mark, I want to give you your moment to shine here with the audio. I know there is a lot to discuss from an audio standpoint and music standpoint. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is one of your favorite scores of all time.
It's a great one. It's up there for sure. So the movie started with Pixar knowing that they did not want to create a musical. Cody, you had mentioned earlier that Pixar kind of broke the mold for animation when they made this movie by making it 3D, but they also broke the Disney mold in some ways too, because they purposely did not want to do a musical because that's all that Disney was known for at the time. And so
you're so right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they kind of went against Disney's wishes to not do a musical. And so instead of characters breaking into song, they have songs written about the emotion of the moment in the film at any given moment. And that's really all thanks to Randy Newman.
Yeah, it's amazing. He really is like a narrator in some ways for what's happening. You're getting the dialogue, obviously, but Randy is the one who's singing the themes and the overall emotion of each one of these moments and what the characters are experiencing.
Yeah. Given the limited time to develop Andy and Woody's bond, a song like You've Got a Friend in Me had to quickly convey their deep, lifelong connection without relying on the full runtime of the movie. I mean, you think about the beginning of the film and it's like instantaneous.
Yeah.
That that bond between them.
Yeah, and just going back to the common theme of innovation in Toy Story, I think that what Randy Newman's score and songwriting was able to achieve is incredible in that it feels organic, it feels traditional.
Yes.
It gave life and humanity to the film.
Yeah.
And despite how amazing the film looks, we've talked about that, and how that still holds up, it really does rely on this very emotional score to ground a story that's otherwise really high concept and give it that heart, give it that real human touch.
100%. I know it's not scene specific, but just going back to You've Got a Friend in Me, one thing I love about it, we talked about recontextualized titles, but talk about a recontextualized song in this movie. At the beginning of the film, it's used to represent Andy and Woody's relationship. But then by the end, when you kind of hear a reprise, you realize that it represents Woody and Buzz's friendship.
Oh, yeah, that's so great.
Wow. Yeah.
Good catch.
But as far as this scene goes, there's a couple other really great audio beats to it. So the score itself was composed by Randy Newman, and it utilized a 97-piece orchestra. And it was actually recorded on the same soundstage as Beauty and the Beast and Singing in the Rain.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. there's this one moment where I kind of consider it like a magical movie moment where they're soaring through the skies. You get these soaring strings from Randy Newman. And then as Woody and Buzz break away from the rocket, they're literally flying through the air. And I feel like if you didn't have that musical score, it just wouldn't carry that same weight.
100%.
Yeah, you're so right. One fun thing I noticed, which is a nice Disney callback, is Hakuna Matata plays in the car when we cut to Andy's mom driving. It's like a little moment of levity.
Yes.
And apparently it was Randy Newman's idea to do that.
Oh, that's so cool.
Totally. I also just briefly wanted to shout out Gary Rydstrom, Gary Summers, and Tim Holland as heads of the sound team on the film. And they worked through Skywalker Sound, I believe, with almost no original reference material. You know, obviously there was no on-set recording in this case. So they and their team members, they're really just creating this from whole cloth. The intensity of the rocket in the scene, the driving sounds for RC, in fact, all the toys throughout the entire film. There was an incredibly complex and detailed layering of post-sound work that went into this to immerse us in this world of Toy Story. And they should really be commended as sort of the unsung heroes of the film, just because they're doing their job if you don't really notice that it's there. But at risk of going on and on and on about Toy Story, I think we can wrap it out there and say that it is a wonder and a miracle that this movie exists at all.
Yes.
A team of artists, writers, and technologists came together to attempt something completely untested. Once again, the first fully computer animated feature film of all time.
Right.
They were building an entirely new language for cinema as they went without truly knowing if they could pull it all off. Toy Story is now a timeless and beloved film with real heart and characters that have endured for decades. I know it means the world to each of us here on Scenecraft.
Yeah.
So thank you both for re-exploring Toy Story today. And thank you to our listeners and fellow movie enthusiasts for reliving this scene with us. Rewatch Toy Story for its 30th anniversary if you haven't seen it in a while. I think you'll be surprised by how well it really holds up.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite scene from Toy Story? You can email us at contact@scenecraftpodcast.com with any of your thoughts or comments, or follow us on most social media platforms at Scenecraft Podcast for any scheduling updates and news. You can support the podcast by leaving us a review or star rating on your platform of choice. A very special thanks to Jordan Summerlad for our theme music. This has been Scenecraft, where we break down the craft behind our favorite scenes. See you all next time.